What's the
Put
blank
on your
look?
headphones. You gotta look at original.
Have you never done
Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
I'm Richard.
I'm Joyce.
Yvonne.
Welcome in the green room, Yvonne.
And we're
Thank
here
you.
saving the planet
One
show at a time.
Why don't you introduce our guest a little bit?
Okay, so we have a book we are going to be talking about that Yvonne recently wrote. It's called Off Market. And I want to start again because I'm not going to put this on. So we're starting
Okay.
again. 1, 2, and I didn't like that start.
She didn't like
So
to start.
I didn't like the start. Okay, so we're starting
Why don't
again.
you
So
rehearse? Let's
how do you
rehearse
stop it
again.
and start it,
You
Chet?
don't have to. You're just going to chop
We'll
off the
cut
first
it.
minute.
Okay, the first
Yeah.
one. Okay, so tell me when we start.
Just know what you're going to say. Let's start.
I am. Okay. Welcome to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
I'm Richard.
I'm Joyce.
And I'm Yvonne.
And we are talking real estate and her Yvonne's new book called Off Market. And it's just what comic?
It's 25 short stories of actual transactions. Well, it's fictional. We have to cut
I
that.
love it.
It's fictional.
Okay.
I'm winking. So it's just kind of a different
The
point
absurdity of
view
real estate.
of what actually happens, because I am not on the episode of Selling Sunset, and this is kind of what happens in the past 8 years of my career, and I took it to kind of like a dark comedy
Mm-hmm.
because
That's
there's
a
a lot
great
of trauma. There's a
concept.
lot of
And
trauma.
Yvonne's
in
also
this.
a
So it
DJ.
sounds like it's
Well, here's
fiction
the
that's
thing.
derived from reality. Is that the best way to put it?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
When
Okay.
you
Thank
write
you.
about real things in a fictional way, you can get away with a lot more.
Yes.
Right?
And you can juice the story up
That's
a
what
little
I'm
bit, make it
talking
more
about. It's
There
much
saucy.
more
there's
entertaining.
there's definitely some juice in that
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
And there are no names mentioned in real estate in Phoenix, so everybody's safe.
Well,
Everyone's
it's
safe.
fiction. so
And
of
Joyce
course.
is
Yeah,
also
so-
in real
Well, it's
estate.
fictional name.
Joyce.
I'm
Yeah.
also in real estate as well. I'm with Russ Lyon Sotheby's. So
Yeah.
And so Joyce Lynch is can say that some of this stuff could be true.
Oh
Could be.
yeah,
Could be
yeah,
true.
I'm sure
Anything's
it's all true.
possible.
Anything's possible, and and clients never know exactly what goes on without them. So transactions get done, clients are happy, and very few of them actually know what actually happens behind the scenes. So we all take care of it. Yvonne's been there, I've been there,
Yeah.
and clients
Fire
never
drills.
know.
Okay, so we
Yes.
don't want to give up the best or most entertaining story from the book, but what's the second most entertaining, just jaw dropper story from the book that
I'm just
is
gonna.
it going to be like a little trailer for the people that are listening?
I think my top two would be Surprise, Surprise. That one is probably the most dramatic and impactful.
So tell us a little bit about that one.
So the cool thing I like about this book is that after every chapter, I put a mental note, because when I go through something with people, I'm like, oh, mental note, that guy, we got to watch out for him. And so every chapter has a mental note, just something that I learned. And so in Surprise, Surprise, the mental note on that is keep your head on a swivel. It's social, surroundings, any kind of surrounding, especially when you're showing homes that are vacant. And I work with a lot of investors, so sometimes I go into properties that are very suspicious, but that's a good one. I'm not going to give that one away. I think the
What
funniest...
about Bonnie and Clyde?
Well, Bonnie and Clyde...
Let her answer the question. Come on.
We can... I have ADD, so I'm going all over the place. I'm probably not going to finish a story, and we're just going to keep going. So Bonnie and Clyde was a couple that a little bit older, and they made their millions from buying surgical masks and gloves, and they happened to get a tip before COVID hit. And so they submitted, they had a tip, and so they submitted their proof of funds. They had millions and millions, and so I felt comfortable because this was also a referral from one of my lender partners. And I assumed that my lender partner vetted this person, but they were using cash, which was in this proof of funds that looked legitimate. I checked the bank, everything looked legitimate. I took these people to a $10 million house. I took them to another one. And then one of the owners, it was an owner agent for a random Paradise Valley home. And they said, I'm not going to accept this offer because these people have been in this house and they're actually having mail sent here. And so they were like professional squatters of some sort. And so it was kind of, I started Googling and I found all their aliases, and they were wanted in multiple states. They also they also, Bonnie and Clyde, they're doing lots of random things. And so they also had a charity aspect. And so they were approaching me down the road like, oh, we should have you host one of our charity events. You can have all your clients come and donate to our thing and blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And so I went back to the lender like, do you know these people? And she's like, no, I got it from some other guy that he's kind of shady. And I'm like, well, thanks. Thanks. But yeah. And so that mental note, I think I wrote something like, verify your leads. Like really verify. Don't take anyone's word in this business.
Wow.
No,
Absolutely
yes.
not.
And actually,
Never.
and that's a really good mental note. I actually was given a referral one day, and didn't check background on this because it was a referral from somebody very reputable.
Them.
And I took the listing, and I am doing open houses, and a neighbor walked in and said, you know what, Joyce, this home, did you know the history of this home? It was a house of ill repute.
No way.
Back 10 years ago, before your current owner bought it, it was used as a house of prostitution in Paradise Valley / Scottsdale. And I had no idea.
Upper class.
That's right. It was very nice, but it had to be renovated.
I only knew about ill repute because
Richard's an optimist.
your father-in-law.
Classy ass.
Whenever we would drive back in Lake Tahoe, past that Mustang Ranch, and you kids would be like, "What's the Mustang Ranch?" And your grandpa would say, "It's the house of ill repute."
That's funny.
That's why I had to clarify, so we all know what we were talking about.
Anyway.
So it was interesting. There's and I didn't, and it was an interesting thing. I didn't know it was factual or not, but I just kept on.
Good to know.
Yeah, it was good to know. Good, interesting. Then another agent called me and said, "Have you checked the background of your owner?" And I said, "In fact, no, I hadn't, because I had gotten this." And I checked the background of the owner, and he was a convicted felon.
Oh no.
And he was not on the run from the law, which is the good news.
Was.
And but he had served his time, which was really good. And he had served his time, and so we felt better about that. But I decided that listing probably was not the best one for me to continue
You
with.
pass it to me. That's my expertise.
That's right. Okay, next time I get a convicted felon.
She's like, he's not actively wanted.
He's not actively wanted.
Yeah, she's like, that's not that bad.
Yeah. No, mine spent 3 years in federal prison though. For drug trafficking.
Yeah,
for drug trafficking.
Doesn't faze me at all.
Well, yeah. So next time I get one of them, he's all yours, Yvonne. But I get a referral fee.
Yeah, of course. Money's money. I don't.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Anyway.
How much does that devalue the house for it to,
It probably didn't devalue it at all. It probably did. I'm sure it didn't.
It's a colorful story.
It was a fun story.
Really?
It was interesting.
I think
every home has a story.
Right?
Absolutely.
No, because like if I was,
Hey, I'd rather it be an ex-whorehouse than somebody die in there.
And you can check that. There's websites.
Yeah,
If
because
you
then
really
there was just
wanna
good
know.
times in there, no ghosts.
Yeah, I wasn't comfortable going on, and that was fine. So.
Well, I have a great hazmat cleanup, so a company that comes in
that's
and
great.
they can do whatever you need.
I'll call you
sure
when I find a dead body. Hopefully never.
I'm sure that's a necessary part of the industry.
well, I'm
It
somebody
is.
that I
It
always want to
is.
know the background of why these people are selling
Right,
and who was
it's
living
always
there
fun.
and what.
Yeah.
And there was one house that Chet's dad and I almost bought, but then when we found out the son had died there, and there were all these pictures of the son, in every room, I didn't want to buy that house anymore because it made me sad.
It can do that. And buying is very emotional. So yeah, I get it. So yeah, Bonnie and Clyde. But I think the funniest story in here is Mr. Hot Pants. This is a man.
Funny title.
Sounds like it's one of your boyfriends.
It's not.
But I know we're not talking about your love life.
Yeah, but
That's off limits.
yeah, everyone will find out about each other, so we don't want
We're
to talk
not
about
going to
it.
talk about it.
No, but Mr. Hot Pants was an attempted squatter on one of my really nice luxury rentals. It was a vacation rental on McCormick Ranch in the Gulf area, golf course views and whatnot. And he was referred by a random neighbor, and long story short, I show him the property, and he never took his sunglasses off, and he had this hat on, and I remembered he had a very wide neck, and that was just like the one thing I remembered. And I describe him a lot in the book, and it's pretty funny. But a week goes by, he didn't end up taking the rental, and I don't really hear from him, and I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, tenants are flaky, they just kind of do their thing. And so I get a call from one of the neighbors, and she's like, there's a naked guy on the patio. Like, did you rent this place or what?
Whitest neck I've ever seen.
And so I'm like, great, someone's in there. And I call the owner. I'm like, hey, do you have like a relative there? And they're like, no. So now my client's alerted. I'm like, I'll go there. So I go because I want to check it out and see what's going on.
Oh, so
and
you wanted to check this out?
I wanted to check it out. You know, it's Mr. Hot Pants. And so I was kind of scared because it's like, if he's in the actual property, and I have guns, but I was not carrying this day, and I don't know, I don't want to get.
Yeah, you don't want to go there like Jason Bourne. Yeah.
Like, I want to let the police do that.
Yeah.
But I went there and I kind of snuck around, and I saw that there were a bunch of suitcases and random things, but I checked the perimeter and I went inside the house and no one was there. Everything was locked. It was left as I had it. And so basically, long story short, I did end up getting another call from a neighbor, like, there's like lights on at night, like something's going on. So I had the police end up going. They checked everything and they ended up taking all the suitcases and stuff out, and they did fingerprint stuff, and it belonged to another felon, and this guy was wanted in multiple states for credit card fraud and theft and burglary, whatever. And so the guy's texting me like, hey, my friend left my stuff at the townhouse because he thought I was living there. Do you have my stuff? Like, I want it back. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so they ended up finding him, and I had to do the lineup. And and all the guys there looked identical. You think you know what you see, but 2 weeks later, I'm like, I have no idea. And I'm like, thank God it's the thick neck. That was what
the only identifying factor.
That was the only thing. And so I'm like, good thing because mentally I was thinking, this guy looks like that 90 Day Fiance guy that all the memes are about. I don't know if I can say that, but anyway.
Why Mr. Hot Pants?
Because he was like naked, and then he was in his hot pants, like little shorts, and he was like frequenting.
That'd been funny if they had to bring the neighbors out to do a.
Well, one of them offered. She's like, I know what he
bodies.
looks like naked. She's like, I can help you. I know what he looks like.
Take their clothes off.
It's just fun. It's just funny, and it's like, you know, it's scary because if he actually broke in and lived there, it's like, I don't know all the logistics with the rules, but squatters have a lot of rights.
Do they really?
So
they should be there for months, though, before they have rights.
How common is? Tell me about squatting. How common is this?
In Arizona, I don't know, but I can tell you in San Francisco, it's pretty common.
It's very common in California. I don't know how.
It's way harder to evict people in California.
It is. I think here, if you just kind of like, you know, get your shotgun going, they kind of get this, you know,
they get
the memo.
Well, recently,
somebody just goes to a house. They see it could be a house in Paradise Valley or anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
there's
a lot of it is if they aren't challenged, then they can actually end up acquiring rights to the property. But I think it's like 6 months or longer though that they have to be on the property.
How do they get into the property to begin with? Is it breaking and entering?
Yeah, basically.
Well, that's illegal.
So if it's not reported, like if you're out of town for 6 months and you don't go there, then they have the right.
Yeah, that's why if you are out of town for an extended period of time, you should have somebody regularly checking on your place for sure.
Yeah, the good news, Paradise Valley is a town. If you register your home with the Paradise Valley Police, it's an awesome service. They will send, and you tell them I'm out of town for the next 3 months, they will send sometimes volunteers, sometimes actual police officers to check the perimeter, perimeters of the house, and they'll peek in windows if they know you're out of town.
That's
so
nice,
police officers will do that. You have to register, and I think it's a max of 3 months, but it's a great service. So Paradise Valley.
Well, unless it's an inside job.
If
Here we go.
Are
you okay? Are you like having a paranoid episode? Inside job.
We can call this episode the inside job.
So you lived in LA.
I did. And for 10 years. I should have a plaque.
So 10 years.
I was right downtown before downtown was even built out, like in the early 2000s. And then I also lived in Hollywood.
And how was that?
So it was fun. It was over time. Personally, it made me a little negative. I do like to have my coffee, and when I have to go to 3 different coffee shops to get a coffee, I have a problem with that. So
Yeah,
Wait,
that's annoying.
why
I
would you
mean,
have
the
to go
final
free?
straw,
I don't understand why
because
would
there
you-
was no parking,
Oh, okay.
or there was a homeless guy with fake breasts exposed in front of the door. Like, his boobs were new, and he had a beard. This was like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Hey, it's LA.
He wouldn't let me in. He wouldn't let me in the door, and I'm like, I don't need a coffee that bad. So it's just very inconvenient.
Yes.
At that
yes.
point, at that point, you go in and buy a Keurig.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my little
Make your own at home.
Nespresso. Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm gonna get my Nespresso maker. And,
Well, I understand
But-
because I just got back from San Francisco. I was visiting our friend Renee,
Mhm.
and she's been friends. We've been friends since we've been like in kindergarten, and I really enjoyed getting out of the heat and enjoyed the cool weather. But I did find like it's so hard. You can't just park anywhere.
mm-mm.
You have
And
to.
the signs, they have like 7 signs. You have to have dyslexia to understand it. I always like stood out there and I'm like, so wait, when can I park here? Like, what?
The answer is usually never. So
Yeah.
don't- yeah.
Just
Oh yeah,
don't
if you
bother.
look at the top 10 most populated cities in the U.S., all of them are terrible to actually live in besides Phoenix. Like, they're only good
Yes.
cities to visit. Actually living in Miami or New York or L.A. or San Francisco, it's, terrible dealing with that big of a crowd, that many people cramped into a small space, the homeless issues, the traffic.
Yeah, I mean,
Phoenix
yeah,
is literally the only
Yeah.
city in that list that doesn't have severe issues in those areas.
So nobody move
Yes.
here.
Hopefully it stays
Don't
that
move
way.
here.
Right?
Don't
Don't move
move
here.
here.
Don't
We're
move
good.
here.
Well, actually, okay, so wait, so no, I want you to move here because I've got lots of California clients. But actually, Phoenix and Scottsdale are a great place to live. It's really, you're right, Chad. It's really an easy place to live.
It is
So,
hot, but
yeah.
it's okay. It's a dry heat.
Yeah.
Well, I like
Oh,
to
you
drive
just
my
have
car.
to save up and travel during the summer.
Well,
Yeah.
Renee said, if we're going into the city, you can't drive. It's really so hard to drive,
No.
and you can't
Why
park
would you?
anywhere, and you have to park a mile away. And so I thought, I love driving my car. So, in Arizona, you can actually drive to a restaurant and park your car and go inside and eat.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I
See,
like
so
it.
this is the one
Not
area
in
that we
San Francisco,
differ.
though. So when you go to San Francisco,
Mhm.
Uber or something, right?
Well, that's how we did,
Yeah.
but that adds up. You need to go a little closer.
Everything adds
Well,
up.
well, I was about to say, I was going to
Well,
disagree
yeah.
with you. That's one of the few things
Mhm.
I prefer about being in one of those big cities that have like a really condensed metropolis. I love being able to walk to a bunch of options because every time you get in the car, there's a chance that somebody else is going to hit you and have a really bad wreck. But if you're going somewhere on foot, the odds of that are way lower. So
Yeah, my son and his wife just moved to the Marina District in San Francisco. Really fun area because they can leave and no homeless, which is kind of surprising for SF.
What do you mean
but
that area has no
the
homeless?
area is no homeless.
Okay.
And you can actually leave their apartment and walk to 10, 20, 30 restaurants. It's
Sure.
really
and
fun
talk about
area.
sustainability. That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sustainable because then you're not burning fossil fuels to get to your location. So
You just keep walking.
Yeah.
And walk. All good.
yeah, that's one of the things I love about visiting like an area like Hollywood because you can
Mhm.
walk everywhere.
So many places. It was a fun place to live, absolutely. But it was, I like this speed.
How
Oh,
was
yeah.
the music
Better.
scene?
The music scene was amazing. I played at Avalon. I
Very
played at Exchange LA and some pretty cool spots. There was also after hour power, so my set would start at 8 a.m. So I'd get a good night's sleep and then I would go to the club and
8 a.m.
8 a.m. we go till noon or whatever the next day. So
that's
Not now,
nice.
not
That's
now.
nice because at least then you can sleep the night
This is
before.
what it is.
Yeah. yeah, it's fun.
And
Wait,
this
it would
isn't
start at
a-
8
This isn't a
a.m.?
club?
Start.
No, that's just when I would go on. So
Okay.
they're still there from the night before.
And there are people drinking and
Drinking and having a good time.
at 8 a.m.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So
But-
did you ever have to play at like 2 in.the.morning?
Yeah, sometimes.
And how'd you do it?
Coffee. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have any juicy like drug stories. I just drink
That's
coffee.
That's good. That's good. Because I know when Rachel and Chet have played at, 11, 12, 1, I have to start thinking, how am I going to stay awake? If it's at 1
Take
or
a nap.
something.
Take a nap.
Well, my sleep schedule, I basically just push my sleep schedule. I usually go to sleep at around 2, so I'm used to being up pretty late
Mhm.
regularly.
So you make it a
Oh.
usual thing.
Make
yeah,
it work.
I usually sleep from like 2 to 8 or 9. So if I have to stay up till 2 or 3, it's not that much later than my usual
Mhm.
bedtime. So that's how I prepare.
Yeah.
But it's kind of almost just a product of result of my schedule, because like my last few shows have been like, 10 p.m. to midnight, 1:30 to 3, 2 to 3. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of shows late at night, but 8 a.m. is a different level.
Yeah.
I know your next one's August 16th. Is it Deep Chetty Music's playing at, is it Dark Star or Sunbar? Sunbar.
I didn't tell you about that.
Well,
And I
I
didn't
know
want to
that's
talk
what
about
it
it on the
is
show, but that's fine.
We'll
yeah.
cut it out. We'll cut it out. So anyways, yeah.
so you are still playing music and
Yeah, I'm still DJing. I've been doing it for about 19 years.
Wow.
August 26th is my first
Wow.
show that was in Hermosa Beach. I forget the venue, but it was pretty cool. And I've been doing it since, and now I'm a resident at Toca Madera and global ambassador, and I get to
Oh.
do more
Yes.
like loungy house, a little
Toca
tech
Madera,
house,
right.
and yeah, I absolutely love it. So I have my creative outlet, and then real estate is my main thing, and I have
So
lots
it's a
of
good
fun
thing.
hobbies. Lots of
I
fun
came to
hobbies.
see her
Combo.
play at Toca Madera, and
You
I was
did?
really, yeah.
Yeah,
should've
she
told
came
me.
Yes,
by.
yes.
Hold on,
Should've
you didn't
told
tell
me.
us. Wait,
Yeah.
Richard, I will come. Wait.
I'm fascinated though about the whole
Yes.
DJ scene and how it started and
Well, she produces
evolved
music,
and
too.
developed.
She's
Oh,
got her
really?
own songs.
Yeah. I started producing in 2006, so I'm on iTunes, Beatport, Spotify, anywhere you can buy music. I sing and write original tracks. I haven't done a song in a long time, but we've done a lot of remixes.
Mhm.
I work with my partner, Joseph Dakota. We own Dakota West Recordings, which is based out of LA, so he's running that over there. And yeah, it's fun. I don't even know how many songs we've done. But
And
I've
he's not her
also-
former boyfriend. We got that
No,
straight.
we've
Sure.
always been business partners. He's amazing.
So you're writing music,
hmm
singing. You play an instrument at all?
I started with piano as a child, but I got bored, and I just
Okay.
I don't know, I couldn't.
But then you're
Stick with
also
it. I wish I
involved
stuck with
in the,
it.
in the production aspect
Yes.
of
Yeah.
producing that music.
Yeah, we use Logic, Cubase, and
Wow.
whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, we've sold hundreds and hundreds, not millions of copies,
Okay.
but it's cool.
What
It's
type
there.
of music is it?
It's like progressive house.
Okay.
It's dance.
It's dancing.
Yeah, yeah,
Her music's
yeah.
very
And
dancey.
again,
Yeah.
this
You don't want to sit there. You want to get up and
you know,
dance.
Yeah.
the way this whole thing is developed, house music,
Mhm.
rave music, all this stuff.
So many
It's-
genres.
Yeah. It's just very interesting.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
hmm
So it's really
Yeah, it's a
fun because you're
fun-
kind of dancing around. And
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
energy. Yeah,
Well, it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's extremely popular, right?
I think there's no better music to dance to, and a lot of pop music, pop beats are technically house beats because they're technically between like 115 and 130 BPM with
Mhm.
the clapper
yeah?
snare on the second and fourth beats. So,
Okay.
like I would say 50 to 80% of pop music is technically on a house beat. It's just categorized
Yeah.
as pop music
Yeah.
because it's like the vocals are the focal point of the mix down. But with true house music, the low end and the bass are going to be like almost the same levels as the vocals because it's like kind of more catered to the dance floor as opposed to like people
Right.
listening in a car.
hmm
So do you start with lyrics first when you're producing a song?
Most of my songs are anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes because they're DJ versions.
Mhm.
Because
Okay.
the first 2 minutes you're mixing in, so they're more longer. We don't really do radio edits. Like there's a couple, but so
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 you
when
do
you're
you get sorry.
When you're performing live, do you sing at all?
no, I
No.
would never.
No.
It would be fun.
That would be fun.
You should.
I agree.
No.
So
Very cool.
do you do so global ambassador, you're up on the rooftop.
Yeah, Thea, and then
Okay,
I've
yeah.
also played at their lounge, the pool area, Pink Dolphin. They
Okay.
had us there on Friday and Saturday nights for
Oh,
a little
fun.
bit when
When
they
you say
first
they,
opened.
is it your partner?
No, the hotel. They,
Okay.
We were kind of beta testing that, and so yeah.
Oh,
it's
good. I love the
been-
global
it's
ambassador.
been
It's really,
fun.
yeah, it's great. So different music
Mhm.
at global ambassador than Toca Madera.
It is
You've got
slightly
it-
different. Yeah, it's a
Really?
little more Afro house at Toca, which I absolutely love, and
Okay, I've never heard that. Afro House?
yeah, check it out.
That's what it's
so
called?
Toca, yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
we're kind of leaning more towards a more friendlier vibe. Like I play a lot of brunch there, and
Mhm.
so they want it a little more inviting and maybe
Well,
a little bit more commercial, so it's
Well, yeah,
for
that
everyone.
makes sense. And brunch would be different.
Right,
music than,
totally different. Yeah.
Oh, well, you'd be surprised at Toka, people get really dressed up for the brunch. They get all fancied up.
Sure.
And
Lots
I
of
mean,
bachelorette parties
Yes.
are coming
Yeah.
through there, and
Mhm.
birthdays.
and everybody's drinking. It's, it's not just regular brunch. Everyone's drinking, and
Yeah,
the vibe of the music is perfect, and the food is fantastic.
yeah, it's
Actually,
fun. They should pay us for this ad, this free ad.
So tell us if you.
Well, while we're talking about your gigs, what is your single favorite place you performed at or gig that you played at? Is there one that like
That's a good question.
just stands out? Was it Exchange?
I think
'cause Exchange is so big. That's so cool.
it was for Awakening with Insomniac. It was
Oh,
like on
very
a
cool.
Friday night or something. That was definitely one, and I signed the wall like in the back, which was pretty cool. That was definitely one of the top ones, but another one was Orleans Arena in Vegas. I think we had, I think the capacity is 50,000 there. I'm not sure how many were there.
Wow,
I can't
that's
remember,
fun.
but it was a big show. It was similar to Electric Daisy, but it was called Club Rubber at the time. It was probably before you were born. But that was a really good gig. And I think one of my favorite was in Mexico City. There was a mansion literally in the heart of downtown. It was humongous. It was white, and it was somebody's private residence. I'm assuming it was a cartel owner. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Sirius XM was there, and
Or the governor.
Axe Body Spray was like the
Could be the same
main
thing.
sponsor of it. And so,
Wait, body spray?
yeah,
Axe.
Axe. Remember that brand?
Oh,
it's
yes.
still around. That was
It's
my
still
son's
around,
first
yeah,
deodorant.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yes,
great. So
yes.
they were
It's
one
gonna
of the
smell like a
main.
douchebag.
It was
Axe.
like the Axe mansion, and it was just cool.
Mm.
They flew me in. I've never been to Mexico City. I've been all over Mexico, but not in Mexico City. And just driving there, being a passenger was I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the gig because there's like no lanes. Everyone's going nuts, and it was just such a great experience. And then Croatia, I played on a boat. That was fun.
Oh,
Just like
very
random
cool.
stuff. Yeah.
Was that for Yacht Week or what was that for?
I don't even remember. That was
Is it a cruise ship line?
no, it was like
Oh,
a
just
private
somebody.
yacht. It was
Oh,
like a
fun.
random.
Yeah,
How
there's an
fun.
event in Croatia
But-
called Yacht Week or whatever that is. Like all these people bring their yachts together and then all the house music DJs play on the different yachts.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like a boat Burning Man because like it's all like
How fun.
makeshift stages, but
Well,
it's not. It's
yeah.
obviously not as like ratchet as Burning Man because
Yeah,
everybody's on
I haven't
yachts.
been.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to dust and grass, but I still golf because I love it and I won't give it up. But Burning Man
Nice.
would kill me, I think.
Chad's too bougie to go in that.
No,
dust.
I definitely want to go, but I want to wait until I'm performing because I actually very dislike dust too. So I basically am
And
gonna
he-
want to
he
go
is
for
like
like 48 hours and like perform a few times and get out like in and out.
Yeah, and this last one they had the big floods and everything.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
scary.
So Rachel was
many
there
people.
for that, and
That was
she
her
had-
first burn and she got
Oh,
stuck in the
no.
mud. Yeah.
But she was so positive about it. She loved every minute of it.
I'm sure everyone just unified because you have no other choice. Like, what are you gonna do?
She
Yeah,
loved
but
it.
it still sucks. It
It's
objectively
scary.
sucks to sit in an RV for 4 days. Like, no matter what
But if
caused that, no matter how positive you can be about like, oh, at least we got through it, you still sat in one RV for 4 days.
But you had your neighbors, and everybody was stuck together.
Well, she was basically being positive about it because they had one
You had
day
no
of
choice.
music before that.
Yeah.
But I was like,
If you have no
4
choice-
days of sitting in an RV.
But if
I
you
would
were
be
there,
like,
you could have set up your equipment on the top if you have a generator, and you could have played. Could have been
well, I
your first
think
show.
that was
and there was
another
room
issue.
in her RV for him, but he didn't want to go.
No, there wasn't.
He-
No.
Okay, but there was room. There's one more spot.
one day, next time.
Yeah.
Next
Well,
year.
I really do want to go once I find like a camp to perform with. So.
Perfect.
Put it out there. It'll
That's
happen.
it. It's gonna happen. Let's go. Let's
Somebody's gonna
go.
call you tomorrow.
So tell us. I know you had a accident that a car.
Yeah,
hit you or
when we were
something.
talking about walking, I kind of mean like, actually, the odds are pretty high because I've been hit by a car when I was walking.
As a pedestrian?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's
In LA?
terrible.
Is this in LA? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Shoot.
very grateful it was a Prius because I didn't hear it. It is definitely the silent
Well,
killer.
that's
Don't
scarier.
laugh.
Damn.
Everyone always laughs, and it's okay. It's fine. I'm really grateful it was a Prius.
And that's what happens. You can't hear them.
But because of that, and they always say unsuspecting people and drunk people don't get hurt. and I didn't hear it. And I was walking back with groceries and just minding my business, and I had the right of way. Like, I had the little guy, he was ready, and I just took 2 steps, and the lady was taking a left turn, and she accelerated probably like 45 miles an hour into me. And the craziest thing that happened was that as soon as I took 1 step on the street from the curb, I remember it was so slow motion, and I just remember thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get hit by this car. And I just remember seeing the white hood right next to my knee, and then I was gone. And like the last thing I heard was like, you know, when you sit on a hood of a car, that pop sound. So I heard that, and then lights out. But it was very surreal because it was like floating, and it felt like I was in a cloud, and it was like very misty, and it was just white.
So wait, you didn't get hurt that?
No, but I think I died. Like, I definitely died, and then when I woke up,
you mean you got knocked out?
I got knocked out,
Yeah.
but I like saw stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was
Really?
weird.
What'd
Yeah.
you see?
Yeah.
The white cloud,
Oh my
and
gosh.
like, I don't know, it was just whatever. So long story short, the milk carton blocked my head from the cement, but I had, you know, fight or flight, and so
did you lose the milk? Did the milk carton?
the milk
burst?
exploded. It was
Wow.
gone.
The waste of
I
That's a
know.
milk.
There
miracle
goes
then. That's
$10.
a miracle
That's
because that
pretty
would have been
good.
like a
It
life-changing
could have
head
been.
injury if
Oh,
you
yeah.
had hit the cement.
100%.
Wow.
And so I don't know if anyone here
should drink
or your
milk every day.
listener,
That's right.
if your listeners are religious, but like that, you know, I was like, okay, I definitely have some angels watching over me, and our time is limited here, and that's why I always like to try and do as much as I possibly can and test the limits. And I was like, I gotta write this book. There's just so many things that are not talked about. But yeah, back to the accident. I had a compressed C1 through 7. I had, you know, lots of joint issues, but nothing actually broke.
So you were
And
banged up, but
It was bad. It took me about a year to.
Who
and I had
found
like
you? And did you go to the
everybody.
hospital?
I was in the busiest intersection on La Brea
Oh my
and
gosh.
Franklin. And so there were a few witnesses, and one guy was trying to move me, and everyone's like, don't touch her.
Oh.
And I kind of woke up, and then it was a 90-year-old that hit me, and she actually happened to be a famous actress who was
Really?
in like Twilight Zone and stuff, like Planet of the Apes back in the
So
day.
did you at least get a good settlement then?
Nope.
What?
Because her
Wow.
car was not insured.
What?
Yeah.
Doesn't that give you more
Sorry.
grounds to sue though?
Yeah, but yeah, you're looking at 3 years and then additional.
Yeah,
like,
if they hit you like that,
Yeah,
see you in
no.
3 years.
It
baby.
was-
Was she
Yeah.
charged?
yeah, but it was not the best scenario.
Did she get a ticket?
I think so.
Great.
Did you
she
press
definitely- Technically, yes.
Mhm.
So, but that's all I'll say.
So did your
but-
parents, were your parents coming to your rescue, or?
Somewhat, yeah. I needed help with my little dog. You know, I couldn't walk her and stuff, so they
Oh.
helped me with her. And they're just like, "What are you doing out there? Like, just come back to Arizona, enjoy your life. It's so much easier." And
Yeah.
so
You did?
came back, and then it's like, what do you do with your life when you don't know what else to do? You get your real estate license, and so
So it was
So
actually
what was,
perfect.
so what was
the
the reason
accident
that you
made you move
didn't
back.
sue then? Because if somebody screws up your life for a year like that, I feel like you kind of deserve to sue them at that
Well,
point. But did she just not have money anymore? or-
there, I don't know. Basically, my
Okay.
insurance covered a certain amount, and then the lawyers are like, honestly, this could be in litigation for like 5 years.
Yeah,
or
and
there's
that-
no
that's-
point. And so I got my medical bills covered, and I can walk, so it's all good. I definitely have memory issues, but I forget a lot of things.
Do you
like
have
from my
any
past.
bruises? Do you have bruises that have lasted?
No.
Just saying
Just
an aggressive
mentally.
lawyer would have been like, we're definitely suing if they have any assets. But-
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
so-
Just happy to be here.
Did
It's
she
all
say
good.
I'm sorry? Wait, let's
She
Did she- anything?
I went in the ambulance, and then they were like, hey, she wants to talk to you, and I'm like, okay. And I'm in fight or flight mode, and I'm just like, who hit me? I don't know. And she was like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe you shouldn't be driving, like if you're accelerating instead of braking, but it is what it is. So anyways, it was a bad scenario, but it was the best case of it, and I'm very grateful.
Could have been worse, yeah.
It could have been way worse.
So
but-
I'm curious, so you move here, now you start, okay, I'm gonna start real estate. I'm very fascinated about how people get into real estate and actually become successful at it, which you obviously have.
It's definitely a grind. I feel like
Yeah.
it's this club that you're trying to get in, and most of these stories are from when I first started. Like you've got, the crazy stalkers, you've got these run-ins at open houses that are kind of dangerous. And it's, I just was like, am I supposed to do this? Like I questioned myself because it was very difficult. I think it took me 5 months to get my first deal. And, it's really risky getting online leads because you don't know these people. And
so referrals from friends are the best.
Yeah, it's just.
Would you say that's
But
the
sometimes they aren't the best because it backfired for her the time the guy that was a fraud.
Well,
anything can backfire.
Or the Bonnie and
you
Clyde
just don't
story,
know.
yeah.
Well, but that's not going to be every time.
It's not.
I mean,
so,
pretty much.
But not every referral is going to be a gem.
Yeah, and
it's so far so good for me, except for that one.
Yeah.
Except for that one. So I have a little bit different background. So I'm a lawyer and came from New York. So I had a little bit different background. I was a little bit older and I'd been a developer.
And I had zero sphere. I started from absolutely nothing. I moved away from Arizona. I didn't really keep touch with too many people from high school or anything like that. So I literally started.
So you went to high school here?
I did.
Oh, did you?
I went
Which
to
one?
PV, but I did go to real estate school and stuff, and I had zero. I started at absolutely ground zero, and I think that's the hardest because you're like, what do I do? I have my license, but the school doesn't really.
Yeah, the school is no help.
It's it's nice to know certain things, but it doesn't. Yeah.
You go work for
Yeah, I was a transaction coordinator. I was on a team for a little bit, so I know my paperwork inside and out. And then I joined the agency. I was there for about 3.5 years or so, which was great. And now I'm kind of doing my own thing with
now you're a
Label.
broker.
Yeah,
right?
I'm a broker.
So you're your own boss.
I'm an associate broker. Well, we're all our own boss. We're independent contractors,
Everybody works
right?
for themselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great business. Lots of changes coming up, this year. I'm sure
Really?
you guys
Are any of the
have
changes
heard.
for the better?
No.
No.
I think none of the changes for the better. I think they're all make work for all of us. So
the
we have no choice.
National
So there we
Association of Realtors has that lawsuit. Even President Biden brought it up in a speech. I get all my news from Instagram. That's where I get all my news.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing a clip of him kind of talking about how I swear he said this, don't quote me, but I think he said now Americans can buy homes at a discount because they're kind of getting the agent out of the way.
Okay, so thank you, President Biden, for
I think he
for
said that.
throwing
Did
us
he
under the
not?
bus.
Getting the
But
agent
no comment.
out of the way.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
So was it his fault?
I don't know.
No,
I did not hear that.
It was
however,
actually,
I'm not surprised.
the fact that he brought that up, that's how big of an ordeal this is going to be. And yeah, it's going to affect a lot of agents, but I'm thinking of the big picture of how it's going to affect Americans in general, just the affordability. And then, how are you going to pay your representation in also your down payment and closing costs and the home in general? So it's like, what is the Fed going to lower the rate to in September? That's the supposed rate cut.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're in the 6s, I'm sure it'll, drum up some more business, but there's definitely some more changes
and these laws are not, these rules are not going to have any benefit at all to the buyers, and it's very sad because I'm really lucky because my buyers are all cash buyers and they're fairly wealthy, but anybody who doesn't have all of the cash, and my buyers pay me whatever I need to be paid.
Anytime there's a new laws, somebody benefits from it.
Somebody benefits,
That's
but it's not going to be the buyers. It's not going to be the agent, and it's not going to be the buyers.
Who's it going to be?
The lawyers,
That's a good question.
All the lawyers involved in the NAR lawsuit are making billions of dollars, and God bless them. They have their job. I have mine. Yvonne has hers, and we'll all deal
for
with
now.
it. But
I don't know.
the
We should
buyers
all
are not going to be helpful.
We should all still strive for efficiency. So it's frustrating that that's going in the opposite direction.
It is, and it's creating much more work for a buyer broker. Not so much more for a listing agent, but
it is if they're unrepresented and you gotta, help them out, which it's a win-win for everybody if you do.
Well, my sellers pay me extra for dealing with an unrepresented buyer. They're happy to do that, but unrepresented buyers are another problem. But they've always been an issue. So, but the buyer, the first-time home buyer, is going to have a hard time. The agents who were just in the business for a few years are going to get really frustrated. And I think the number of real estate agents are going to go down tremendously because they can't afford to live.
The thing that shocked me when we were talking earlier is if I love to go into open houses And that's it's one of my favorite things to do, and I do it with my
Hobby,
friends.
right.
And I know Joyce and Yvonne said with the new law or the new rule, you really can't go into open houses unless you take your realtor with you.
Right. If you wind up buying that's
Yes.
true. If you
can.
wind up you can always go to an open house anytime you want.
Well,
However,
okay, like let's say I want her to be representing me, and I happen to I see an open house and I just go into it.
okay.
Well, then what happens?
Okay, so if I have a buyer broker, can go with you, and you say you're my client, and you go to an open house and you don't like it, you leave. Not a big deal. Nobody cares. But if you go to an open house and you decide that you want to buy it, and I'm not with you on the first time, technically the listing agent / seller does not have to pay me my buyer broker fee because I was not with you when you went to see that particular property. Theoretically, then you would be paying me my 3%.
Oh,
And
la, 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 la.
yeah, and that's wrong.
No numbers.
That's wrong.
That's frustrating.
That's right. No 3%. Okay.
No, but you gotta talk about bananas.
Well, today I can talk about 3%.
But I'm in the room. No.
But you're in the room. That's right.
But you have to explain the rule of
I didn't
bananas,
hear that.
which is so
Okay.
crazy. Tell
Okay,
us about
so
the bananas.
It's
So-
collusion.
That's right. So
Alert.
sorry about that. Okay, my bad. I cannot talk about percentage of commissions anymore. I'm not going to talk about bananas though because I refuse. But my
But you're supposed to be
compensation-
saying bananas.
But my compensation would not be.
No, you're
that
going
point.
bananas.
I am going bananas.
We're going
I will
back
be
to like
bananas,
freshman
yeah.
year algebra.
Basically, yes. It's all
What
very
happens if
silly.
you have 5
It's
watermelons?
2 trains leave at the same time.
So,
But yeah,
thank you,
it
Yvonne. You're right. It's
it
silly,
can
yeah.
get a little, crazy. I do help all walks of life. So first time home buyers, assigning properties, whatnot, lots of off market random things. And so I'm all about finding a way. It's all about win-win. You want this property, let's make it happen. But again, it's going to change, and then other people will have different tactics of implementing these new forms, and it's going to be trial and error, and it all starts August 17th. So
Actually, in
Really?
Arizona, it's August 1st.
well, we get the forms August 1st.
How many forms do you have to fill out for every transaction? Is it like another 20 forms or something?
I don't do my own forms. I've got an assistant to do that. So I don't know. But all I know is I have the buyer, I have the seller, I sell my homes, I have my buyers who will be paying me a standard compensation, and they all have agreed to pay what I'm worth, and I have no arguments with anybody.
So are these
Everybody- yeah.
changes permanent then? or-
Nothing's permanent.
Okay.
So
Well, that's
they'll-
good.
Except death and taxes.
That's right. So I don't know if Yvonne you agree, but I think that at some point a lot of them will go back. There'll be other lawsuits. There'll be some things that'll be going back.
It'll be
like
reversed.
the open house, you can't go and buy a house unless your buyer broker's with you. I think that's silly. Will that be reversed? Maybe. Maybe not. I think some of the things will be.
Yeah.
So
I have no idea. Anything could happen.
So let's say you go into an open house. Let's say I go in an open house and I don't, they say, oh, sign your name here. And I say, oh, no, I don't want to.
you never had to.
And if I did, and you don't do that, because I
Nobody
never
cares.
do.
Yeah.
And then I decide, okay, I want to buy that house. And I'm like, okay. Then I contact
Your
Joyce
buyer
or
broker.
Yvonne and I say, I want to get this house.
Okay, so
Then what happens?
okay, so what really happens if the listing agent, if you put a contract in on the house, if I put a contract or a bond, whoever your broker is, puts a contract in on the house, and the listing agent doesn't figure out that you've already been there without us, then don't worry about it. Then if the listing agent is / seller is offering compensation, then your buyer broker will get it. If they figure out that you came in without your broker for the first time, they can technically say no.
So wear a wig when
So-
you go into or wear a
Yeah.
hat and put your hair in.
That's
Okay,
right.
and don't talk. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And then it can work.
I
It-
never
it-
realized that if you want to go see a house, you have to bring your agent.
You never
with
had to
you.
before. You do now.
Really?
But only if you wind up buying the house.
It sounds like it just complicates
It does.
basically your agent getting paid out.
It does.
You
Mhm.
see
Well,
the
no. Did you
property
hear what you
without
said?
them.
So if you go,
We've
so
been
if she
on this for
represents
5
me.
minutes. I think everybody
If
got
she
it.
Yeah,
if she
they get
represents,
it.
what's that?
We've been on this for like
Okay,
5
okay.
minutes. I think everybody gets it.
Okay,
by
okay,
now.
everybody gets it. So,
Okay.
anyway.
Anyway.
We're done with open house.
So what's on your
So-
bucket list, Yvonne?
Bora Bora.
Oh.
Performing there or just going there for
Just
fun?
going there to live my life.
Have you seen the beach clubs in Bali?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to perform there really bad.
That
It's
would
almost
be
like
fun.
Bora Bora levels of like beauty at the beaches, but then they have these giant hotels with these crazy beach clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Well, I've had some friends go there and say it's really beautiful, but it can be boring too.
I've never
For
heard
new-
that. Everybody
I
I've
have.
talked to that's been there and said it's absolutely beautiful.
Who did they
Best
go with?
snorkeling,
That's-
best hiking.
That
Yeah.
that could be. That could
Yeah,
be.
the only person that would not like it is a boring person themselves.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the problem.
Who doesn't like jet skiing and kayaking and snorkeling and
And-
massages?
Yeah.
Like,
Taking it up in the afternoon and
Well,
going out
but
at night.
hold on, Chet. You're somebody that gets a sunburn after you're out in the sun for 30 minutes.
that's not true.
So let's say you were there for like
Start
It's not true. I just have
A
to put
week.
sunblock
he's going to
on.
completely burnt. You,
That's not true. I was just in Hawaii for a week and it didn't get burnt once. I just put on sunblock the whole time.
You look great.
Thanks.
Nice
No
and
sun- no
relaxed.
sunburn.
Thanks.
So that's the other thing about the DJ. You can travel around the world and perform. You know, I mean,
You can.
And you can spend a month in Bora Bora. Go for it.
that.
Well,
I
the goal
can't.
is to get to that level where you
Well,
can
no.
literally pick the city you're going to tour in. Right now, I'm still at the level where like I don't get to pick and choose my offers. But once you're a headliner at a certain level, you can literally call the venues in a city and say, "I'm coming to your city. Like, what split will you give me of the tickets?" Like, it's easy
Mhm.
if you're at a certain level as a headliner.
Sure.
But I'm still basically up and coming, so I'm basically getting booked as support for different headliners. So I don't get to pick where I go yet, but that's definitely in the goals, like a few
That's
years
good.
down
so,
the road.
So when you're going to Bora Bora, let us all know. We'll
That's
be,
right.
We'll
I'll
be
open
first
for
in
you
yard.
because you'll be a headliner.
Hell yeah. Who knows? Maybe you will be too.
I'm more
You
of an
never know.
opener. I'm good.
Don't tell yourself that.
That's
No,
okay,
I,
but we're-
I
we're a
like
good
the
audience.
opening. I'm like,
We're
you know, a
audience.
little
That's
older,
right, that's
and I
right.
like, I like to ease
You're
it
not
in.
older.
You know?
Don't say that.
Yeah, it's fine. I know my truth. It's fine.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Well,
So-
you can.
Good.
There's like different shows with different styles of music. Like the stuff that I play is really high energy, but there could be like a more chill lineup put together where you'd be
Mhm.
a perfect headliner for it. So just
Yeah.
because you're more like laid back with the style of music you play doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be a headliner.
It's so funny because when I started with hard electro, like
Heavy,
beyond your wildest dreams, heavy, and I still like a lot of techno. So I don't know if you've heard of D Unity. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorite producers. So stuff like that. But then I like Afro House, Deep House, stuff like that.
I
so
felt like everything you were playing was not really chill. I thought it was very dancey. Like I wanted.
yeah.
I was dancing as I was eating and sitting.
Yeah, I gotta make you sweat so you'd buy more drinks and have fun, you know? That's
Yeah,
the whole
so
point.
Diane and the tubes were just woo. It was really fun. So,
Yeah.
well, we'd like to have you back on again soon.
I would
Well,
love
and
that,
also I was
yeah.
gonna say the other thing about becoming a headliner is just give back into releasing music regularly because
Yeah.
if one of those songs blows up, then you're gonna be headlining not by choice.
Could
just
you
because...
remix one of my songs?
Oh yeah,
I think
totally.
there's one you would like. It's called Hard Candy. It's one of my favorites.
Sweet, I would definitely.
There we go.
I
This
think
is what
you
happens
would
on the
like it.
show.
I'll
So
send you the
can-
acapellas.
This
Can
is
we
perfect.
hear your stuff on like Spotify or?
Yeah,
Yeah?
Amazon Music,
Amazon.
iTunes.
Can you
Really?
put something on now?
How about
We
next
don't
time
really
she's
have a
on?
good
Next
speaker
time.
for
Okay,
that.
we'll
Next
prepare
time
for next time.
We'll have her bring a little.
We'll have an intro with the some
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
We'll have her play next time, or
So-
maybe we'll bring the keyboards in here.
Bring your board and
Yeah.
perform right here.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Right
perform
here
on
in
the show. There we go.
podcast
Chet
room.
That,
and Reed.
that's the cool
And
part
Rachel
about social
and
media.
Yvonne.
Most aspects of social media are annoying, but the one cool part is from like a creative or artistic aspect.
Mhm.
If you have that one song or even just clip of you DJing that blows up and gets a few million hits,
Yeah.
that is the one thing that can get you to selling a lot of tickets and be, touring yourself. So I feel like if
Being the
that-
headliner.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
don't cut yourself into that path of just only being an opener, even if you're playing chill music. Like, you should still have that goal of becoming a headliner if you love it.
Well, I'm
And it
excited.
seems
I
like
do
you do
love
love
it.
it,
I
yeah.
do love it.
And you have the experience under your belt. You've played at really big venues, and being comfortable and thriving in that situation is a lot of it too. Because I know some people who get like nervous and freak out for gigs, but I'm excited to go up there. Like,
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
The best feeling is when you have stacks of monitors and your hair vibrates when you're mixing. It's the best.
Really?
Like you feel
Ooh.
it in your chest, like
Yeah.
when you hit, yeah.
Well, how about this? Why
the
don't you
best.
two work on that song together, and then we'll have you back on, and we'll talk about the collaboration, and we'll actually play one of your songs, and
All right.
maybe have you in here performing. That'd be great.
They're not going to perform, but maybe we'll play the song.
So when you're producing other people for other people as well?
No, my own
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then after my accident, I was cooped up in my apartment for a while, and so I put out a CD that was kind of meditation yoga, because I did a lot of Pilates and yoga for my recovery,
Cool.
and it's called Peace of Mind,
Yeah.
and that's probably one of my favorite.
I'd love to hear that.
Albums. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that on
iTunes.
Spotify?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peace of
There you
Mind.
go.
There's a
There
lot
you
of
go.
cool. Yeah, I made that one all by myself.
Nice.
It's very good. Yeah.
I love it.
I like it.
I love it. I love
It's
it. I love
old.
it.
It's like
Yeah.
2015 or something, but it's still
Oh,
good.
wow.
It's still good.
But we've
excited
run
to
out of
listen.
time, so saving the planet.
Yeah.
One
show
show
at
at
a
a time. How do people find you?
Um,